I mean, you kind of stab somebody, but you really got to poke him. But Perry.
Yeah.
This is how he ends up dead underneath the bridge when Richard is running back into town. And, like, I knew Pasha had killed him, and I knew Perry had a Docra hole in him.
Yep.
But for whatever reason, I was like, Pasha doesn't have a Docra because she's not a sister. So wait, how did that happen?
Yeah.
This is how that happened.
Yeah, this is a plot hole that Terry filled here at the end. Like, because I had forgotten that she wasn't supposed to have one. Like, it completely, like, left my brain by the end of the book that she is not a sister, so she wouldn't have had one. And so by slipping this in, this is how she got that thing.
It covers everything.
Yeah.
Masterful. Because I just can't believe it went right over. And you're like, well, duh. Obviously, Elisha gave it to her. Like, oh, fuck, you're right. Why else would she have two here? Which we didn't know when we read it the first time.
Yeah.
But, like, it makes me wonder how many of these storylines Terry has worked out, that things that have happened to these characters, but he chooses not to share with you. Like, it did happen. If it was canon, he could have confirmed, like, yes, that's what went on. But I wholeheartedly believe in all these little cutscenes now where you leave a character and then come back. Some shit happened. And Terry probably has it written down somewhere. Yeah. I don't know.
No, I agree with you. Probably, like, every single person has their own backstory that he has maybe not fully fleshed out, but he has some idea of it. And so all these little cutscenes are there for him to pick from. And I love it. But I also just think it's interesting that he, like, slipped it in here at the end, because I don't know that I would have missed it, but I think that it really helps tie some stuff up that I didn't know I needed tied up.
Right. Well, and of course, like I said earlier, it makes way for a third book.
Yes. Yes, it does.
Because now, like, the very last thing that's said, you know, is I gotta find somebody to fuck up Richard Rahl. Now, obviously that was Pasha, but these sisters are getting away. We know that plan failed, and she's making backup plans.
Yes.
Which means she's probably going to come up with a plan to kill Richard, because she's got to keep her oath to the Keeper. Yeah. This is not something that they've been defeated in, and now they're going to stop trying. Like, this is recurring bad guy shit.
Mm-hmm. And I'm assuming by now, they've probably figured out, by now, I mean, like, where we are currently in the story, not where this epilogue is in the story, if that makes sense. I'm sure they know that the Keeper didn't win, so now they're probably real pissed. Like, they were pissed when they got, like, ousted from the palace, but now they're, like, super pissed.
I think you can interchange those words. Castle of the Prophets doesn't sound right, because it's not. It's the palace, but, like, when you're just talking about the building, yeah, you can call it a castle.
Giant-ass building. Okay,
big ass.
I do want to say, though, I am super duper excited to keep going through these, because I feel like when we get to certain parts that kind of illuminate past parts like this, we can, like, hold on, wait, and I don't know, spend a little bit of time during extra episodes like this coming back to things that we didn't realize were important when we read them the first time.
Right. It's always better to go over something with a little more, I don't know, like hindsight. Now we finished the book. Now there's more things that stick out because we know how it ended. And they were like, wait, we need to cover. And, like, that's why we started to do this.
Yeah.
So let's do this.
Yes.
But I suggest, first, we have a drink.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm currently drinking, but I'm going to continue to drink this. Is it time for a beer break?
Oh, it is. Except it's not beer today. No, it's cider. We're running with a pirate theme. You are welcome. So I have Blake's hard cider. I have apple cider, and Jade has melon.
Melon.
They are all 100 calories, 1 gram of sugar, and 4 carbs, in case you're watching that kind of stuff. If not, good news, it still fucking tastes awesome. It's also 5% alcohol by volume, so it won't put you down. You can have a few and enjoy yourself. Like, I'm really loving this stuff. I like cider as a general rule. I probably like beer more, and this stuff is pretty tart, but it's very flavorful, and I could I could drink a lot of this.
I like things that taste real good, but I'm not a fan of things that are like super sugary feeling to me. So like ciders, I like them, but I can't drink them a lot.
Right.
Now, I love this melon cider. It's apple cider, but they flavored it with melon. I don't know. Chucked melons in there. I don't know how they did it, but it's good, and I love it. And if you can get some, you should. It was in a variety pack. That's why we had different flavors.
Perfect. Yeah, we got 12 of these bitches.
Yes.
Love it.
So you want to grab another one?
Oh, yeah. Yes, absolutely. I'm already empty, so yeah, it's necessary.
We'll be back right after this.
Hey guys, Nate from All the Things, and I want to talk to you a little bit about 4 Acre Freedom. So 4 Acre Freedom is a family-owned and operated one-stop shop for everything that you're probably already looking for. They've got vinyl-laid shirts, they've got hoodies, and don't forget your beer koozies. Those are, like, essential. We have some, actually, with the All the Things logo on it, and they look pretty sick, just saying. They've got custom-made rings and jewelry, which Jade and I also have, and they're fucking badass. We got these ones. You guys. It's like stainless steel, but then there's a cord. Jade's has like meteorite in it. I think mine's got like dinosaur bone in it, and they glow, and it's like, they're fucking cool. I can't do it justice with a microphone. You guys really have to see it. Again, we are going to post these on our Facebook page so you guys can get a better look at them. They're awesome. He can do custom woodwork and signs. Like, you want a badass grace or a quote, or even like a picture of something from the book, he can do that. He's got a thing that just like, it'll etch it all out on the wood real fucking cool. You get exactly what you want every single time. He can do leather work. You want a custom sheath for your knife, or perhaps your sword of truth. You need a new belt. He can do that too. I mean, you could put those two things together and probably make a scabbard. Just saying. And also they have farm-to-table bread, candies, and confections, which are delicious. I have tried them. Look, here's the thing. Everything they do is of the best quality. And it's all literally handmade. This is not that kind of shop that just buys a bunch of shit cheap online and then you get cheap stuff for a little bit more. No. The value is there. The quality is there. Everything they do is awesome, and you should check them out for yourself. They're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and of course, you can check them out at 4acrefreedom.com. High quality, handmade.
And we are back. So, we can now freely discuss the behavior of the inhabitants of the palace relative to their actual fucking ages. And I mean, we did touch on this when we figured it out, but I feel like we wanted to talk more about it when we first met, like, Neville Ranson and his buddy who he fucking skinned.
Yeah.
And that whole situation, but we weren't able to because we weren't able to yet. We didn't know.
Well, we were a little bit in shock about what was happening at the time, so...
But we also didn't know that they were apparently hundreds of years old.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Like 400 fucking years, 400 years old?
Right around there. They were at the end of their training. We know that normally takes 400. Zed assumed Richard would take 300.
And he's exceptional.
Right. So I'm assuming these guys probably 400 years old. But even when I think that, I think in my head I'm picturing like 50s, 60s.
Yeah, I think that's how they looked physically, which is still hard to wrap my brain around. Because I wasn't picturing them that way, because I feel like their dialogue, I don't know if it was the actual dialogue or if it was Jim Bond's narration of their dialogue, but it seemed so juvenile.
Yeah, I definitely think the narration in the audible version made them out to be much younger. Because if you go back and read it, it doesn't, like, as long as you're not hearing his voice in your head, they seem like they're smarter, obviously, than just a little child.
They're drunk, but not, like... And I mean, they weren't, like, little but, like, 20. Like, they seemed like real...
Younger.
Dumb idiots.
Which really, if it's, like, 1 year for every 10, then it's probably... They're closer to 30 or 40 years old looking.
I can't do math. I'm not going to do math right now.
I mean, like, since they got there, assuming they were 8, and it's been...
It's 15 for every one, I think, right?
Oh, is it 15? I was assuming 10.
10 to 15. I think
Okay.
I read somebody say 15.
Well, if you go off 10, I'm just saying, like, if they did 400 years, then they'd look 40, okay, maybe 48. If they did 300 years, they'd look 38.
Which is still crazy.
Right. But they're not, like, they don't look like children.
No.
They just, they got a little of that in it, but it's still weird because they are 400 years old.
Yeah.
They're not childish at this point. You would think that if somebody looked really young and had lived that long, that they would act wiser than how they look.
Yeah, and I mean, I know that there was an argument to be said for them being, like, kind of imprisoned, so, in the castle, but they're still interacting with other humans for 400 fucking years.
Yeah.
Like...
They have social cues down and shit.
And I know that we got a comment from Pasha. As far as concerning Pasha, she's also in the same vein, that she's very, very, for as fucking old as she's supposed to be, she's very immature. She acts crazy. And Aaron tried to defend her, and it was a valiant effort on his part. Okay, also she's hot was the end of the line.
Also she's hot.
Wonderful. But...
Well, there is that.
I mean, okay, I get everything that Richard did, but also the fact that Pasha... She's been around for a hot fucking minute dealing with all of these other guys in the castle.
Yeah.
And he said something along the lines of, when we know other creatures, like elves and shit like that live long, we don't necessarily consider them mature at 20 years old like we do with humans. We consider them mature at, say, 100 years old or whatever. Either way, they're past that, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only argument that could be made is if, say, for one of the boys, they get taken into the palace at 8 years old. Then they have at least 100 years between 8 years old and 18 years old. At least. So in that time, you could see them being pretty naive and like they haven't reached that maturity level yet. And it took them 100 years. But past that, to the age that Pasha is, I mean, she wasn't there at 8 years old. She came later, right?
Yeah.
So I would imagine that for that first chunk of life, you age, like she got from 0 to 18 in 18 years with all the maturity that comes with turning 18 or 25 or whatever. She's young. We know that. 20s.
Yeah. Well, also the fact that these people are people, okay? There's been no change to their, like, actual brain. And human brains, like, mature at a certain, like, rate. Just because you live longer doesn't mean your brain's gonna mature slower, I don't think.
I personally think that this whole thing with the palace and aging and, like, just the way it affects people, I think it would drive people crazy. I really do. The human brain starts to shut down at, like, okay, then this is a stretch even, but, like, 100 years old. Because it just can't take... It just can't. It's just not built to do that.
But if the physical part of it was fine.
Yeah, if you could just live for 900 years, like you would have no memory of what happened 300 years ago.
When you were actually 20?
No, you're right. Life is the way it is right now. That's what you get used to. That's what your brain would adapt and develop with. And then I think something that happened that long ago, you just couldn't even.
They would be a lot weirder, is what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody in there would just be brain fucked. Like, it wouldn't be good at all.
On top of watching all the villagers, like, die and live repeatedly in front of you.
Oh, God, that would be bad. Like, if you're not close to them and you stay in the castle, fine. But just knowing, I mean, we know how tough it was for Kaelin to think that Richard was going to be gone for 300 years, and Richard thinking that Kaelin was going to die while he was trapped in there. Like, that's one person.
Yeah.
They have to do that to a city, like every 100 years or so. Who the fuck is the mayor? What's the date? I don't even know, because none of this matters to me.
Yeah.
You're a blip on my radar, and you're going to be gone soon. And that's not a good spot for, like, the human condition.
Yeah, the entire lifespan of somebody else, you could watch a girl on the corner go from a little girl to an old woman, and it would be like a day in your life.
Yeah, exactly.
Weird.
Deep.
Anyways.
Take your hits and take your sips, ladies and gentlemen. We just went there. Hey, cheers.